How to hit faster pitching. This is something players can struggle with at any level of the game. You know, maybe you get to a game and there's a pitcher up on the mound that's throwing way harder than you've ever seen before, and your coaches might tell you to choke up, stand in the back of the box, shorten up your load to give yourself a fighting chance to hit higher velocity pitching. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how those things may be actually slowing down your bat, making it tougher to hit a faster pitcher, and what you can be doing to give yourself the best chance to hit faster pitching every single time you go to the plate. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, guys, we got a lot of great content coming out this year, and if you don't want to miss out, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That's the only way you can get notified when we come out with new content. And make sure you hit that like button. That really helps us grow the channel. And if you guys have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Leave them in the comment section below. So first, guys, what you've heard that's probably going to be slowing down your bat to impact. What you've heard that's wrong about, you got that fast pitcher up on the mound. They say one of the biggest things you hear is, shorten up. You want to shorten up. They might be talking about your swing. They might be talking about your load. But I've heard in a lot of cases, shortening up the load. Now, this could very easily be slowing down your time to impact simply because when you shorten the load, you tend to want to put more emphasis on the body getting the bat to the ball. You want the body's going to want to take over more. If the body takes over more, we're now using the muscles and joints that take longer to get the bat to the ball versus releasing the bat, which is using the wrist and elbow joints to unhinge and roll over like we talk about in the release videos in the Pro Speed hitting system. Releasing the wrist joints moves the bat the furthest, the fastest. Therefore, we want the pieces of our body that can move the bat the furthest, the fastest, the most active, so that we can get the bat to the impact area faster. If we shorten up our load, then we're going to want to employ more of the body, which is going to use more of the rotational muscle or the rotational aspect of the thoracic spine, where we're trying to rotate, which these joints take a long time to get the bat to the zone. So by shortening up the load, you're going to want to employ more of a slower swing, which is going to make hitting high velocity pitching much more difficult. So what do we do to fix this? Well, so we simply need to put ourselves in a position to allow ourselves to release the bat. What we want to have happen is we want to be able to allow us to move into transition from the max bat lag position where we start to release the bat. We want to put ourselves in a position that allows the wrist to undo so that we can move the bat the furthest, the fastest, and be able to get to impact much more quickly. That simply means, guys, we don't want to shorten up our load. We want to make sure we maintain our load. We want to make sure we get into a full speed load checkpoint position like we talk about in the Pro Speed hitting system, where we make sure the hands are behind the shoulder from the face-on view. Our hands are about shoulder height, and they're in front of the vertical toe line. That's that imaginary line that we draw straight up out of the background in front of the toe, and we want to make sure our hands are in front of that line. Now, if we are in that position, we're going to be in the ideal position to allow ourselves to use the fastest moving parts of our body to get the bat to the ball the quickest. But if we sacrifice that, maybe we get a little tight, we get a little tense, and we're not focused maybe on getting into a full load when there's a faster pitcher on the mound and we get a little bit shorter, a little bit quicker, a little bit tighter, now we're going to get slower. So it's actually counterproductive to do what most hitters' natural instinct is when they're not comfortable with the velocity on the mound. So, guys, it's much more simple than you might think. We need to have a good swing, obviously. We need to make sure we're able to release the bat the way that we want to. We need to make sure that all of our, we're in balance, we've got a good load, we've got a good release, all that good stuff. But if we let's just say we have a good release, we can swing the bat, we can hit the ball solid on a normal pitch. We need to make sure all we need to do to hit higher velocity pitching is make sure that we're getting into our full loaded position, which is those speed load checkpoints that we just went over. We need to make sure that when we're in the game that we get, let's just say if we get into a full load stride position, let's just say this isn't an exact number, but my hands are 6 inches behind my shoulder. Let's just say they're 6 inches in the game. If they get 4 inches, I've shortened up. I need to make sure I get my full 6 inches behind my back shoulder in the game when there's a higher velocity pitcher on the mound. I also need to make sure that they're in the same spot, meaning I need to make sure my hands are not only 6 inches back, but in front of the vertical toe line so that I can have an uninterrupted path to the ball. If I can do those things, meaning I'm hitting my normal checkpoints in my load, now I'm going to allow myself to allow my swing, which is very good, to get to the ball as fast as it possibly can. So again, if I shorten up my load, I'm going to want to spin my body more, which takes longer to get to impact. If I make sure that I get into a full speed load checkpoint position, I can allow my wrist to release, which is effectively going to allow the bat to get there much more quickly. So the greatest way to work on this, guys, first and foremost, is make sure you got a great load on the tee and everything looks good. So you're making sure that you're being very specific with your load checkpoints. You're getting a full long load, hands are in front of the toe line. You're making nice swings, you're giving a good release. Once all that's good, move into side toss and front toss and have a very, very distinct focus on making sure you have a full load. If it's full in front toss and side toss, go ahead and move into batting practice and then make sure that it's full load in batting practice and you're hitting your speed load checkpoints. Once it's pretty good in just normal batting practice, now let's start hitting some higher velocity. You could have your partner throw to you a little faster, or you can have a machine pump you up some higher velocity. You know, it's just you just kind of use what's available to you. But what you do is you practice, you start building up, is make sure that you can hit batting practice with a full load. Then make sure you can hit higher velocity pitching or higher velocity batting practice with a full load. And then high velocity pitching machine with a full load. And then you have now trained yourself successfully to allow yourself to get into the game and say, hey, I know what I got to do to give myself the best possible chance if there's a pitcher on the mound that's throwing much faster than I'm used to. I need to make sure that I'm putting myself in a normal position. I've disciplined myself to get into a normal load to allow myself to get there the fastest way possible. And remember, guys, there's all kinds of things we can do to speed up this bat. You know, one of the biggest things to make sure that we can maximize the quickness and the speed of the bat is making sure that we are supporting the weight and speed of the bat. So I got a great bonus for you guys. On top of making sure that you're getting a full load in practice, you're also going to want to make sure you're getting a proper weight shift so you can handle more speed, which allows you to get there even faster. In this bonus, I'm going to actually play a preview of it at the end of this video that you can get instant access to by clicking on the iCard in the top right-hand portion of your screen or in the link in the description below. It's going to show you how to start getting a proper weight shift so that you can actually support more speed to get to the ball even faster. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to now start showing how our weight shift is involved with the release of the bat. We just simply need to understand exactly where we want to be in our weight shift. So we're going to get a lot more specific. We're going to be talking about the timing of getting the back pocket in front of the tee at the same time we're hitting the ball. But the first thing we need to do, guys, is we need to rep this out and make sure that we can definitely get the weight transfer that we need. So we're going to put our arms across our chest. We're going to get at least 100 repetitions